We run, we win. Hello guys, this is James. Christian take, atheism versus purpose. We're continuing atheism versus purpose. This is something I've been thinking about for a long time. Months. So, here let's go. One of the fundamental problems Christians have with atheism is that it does not create purpose for anything animate nor inanimate. Atheism has absolutely no purpose whatsoever. There was no reason, there was no plan, there was no, if you try to think that evolution, some process, but aside, that's a process, that was devised by mankind to explain why, based off why children look like children look like their parents. So therefore, since children take on the traits of their parents, let's just go on back billions of years or whatever and just think everything came from a blob. But even in that, the evolution has no purpose to it. There's no purpose for anything animate or inanimate. A rock has no more purpose than a bird, has no more purpose than a fruit tree, has no more purpose than a human, because with no God, no creator, nothing behind it, no impetus behind it, there's no purpose for it. So, then we end up with this problem, a conundrum called self-purpose versus intended purpose, because atheism has no purpose for you on this planet. There's no purpose for you. Atheism has no absolute purpose for you at all on this planet, and God of creation has a purpose. So in atheism, there is no purpose. There's no actual purpose while you're here. So you can spend your life and eons, if atheism's true, trying to figure out what you're here for. But why would you try to figure out what you're here for if there was no creator? You're not going to find a purpose. So simply put, it's atheism versus purpose. So when you have a purpose, then that means you're not here by mistake. You're important. And so that's how we're talking about atheism versus purpose. Now what we have, since atheism does not create purpose for anything animate nor inanimate, we have the self-purpose versus intended purpose conundrum. Self-purpose is simply you choose, you decide, but you choose, you decide your life. Self-purpose, since there is no God, you can make the final decision where you came from, who you are, where you're going. You're the one making the final decision. But in the end, really, whoever has the biggest stick or the most votes really ends up winning when the argument's over. The fallacy in atheism is that it pretends that you are the one making decisions for your life. But if you stick with atheism and the animal kingdom that they try to stick humanity inside of, then really the biggest lion's going to win the fight. So whether you're a poor person who wants to achieve great things, and then you got a rich person who thinks they want to achieve great things on the same plot of land you have, well, whoever has the most money is going to end up with it. And in atheism, in the end, it doesn't matter what you think. The person with the most votes, the person with the biggest stick, the person with the most money is going to end up running the thing. So atheism pretends that there's this concept that everybody can think whatever they want to. Well, everybody can't think whatever they want to. As a society of, we'll say, human beings, if we want to stay in the context of atheism, as a society, everybody can't do whatever they want to. Even gorillas cannot do whatever they want to inside of a pack. Or wolves, in that society, in that community, everybody just can't do whatever they want to. Ants just don't do whatever they want to. So even though there's a pretend that, we can do whatever we want to and follow our instincts and stuff like that, it doesn't really work, because really it's somebody else is going to eventually, their ideas are going to rule and reign. So atheism pretends that you have free will, free judgment, do whatever you want to, everything will be fine, but that doesn't work when you start trying to interact with other people. You can be someone who curses a lot and just has a great time cursing, but that's not going to keep you well established in a job if you keep cursing and your people who deal with you don't. Well, this is a family company. We're doing TV shows for children. You can't be cursing all over the set and stuff like that. You can't be cursing on the channel, but you like to curse. So I can do whatever I want to. In real life, you can't. So it pretends you decide, you choose, doesn't work. Plus, there's no guarantee you've made the right decision about what you want to be and what you want to do in this universe. There's no guarantee. Atheism is like There's no way to actually be true that you decided that you want to live your life in this particular way and that you made the right decision. Now, atheism pretends you made the right decision, but you can't. Atheism doesn't, since there's no God, there's nothing looking forward to tell you, well, if you make this particular decision, it will eventually affect another person like that. Now, atheism pretends that, we use logic, and if we do this, this would be great for whatnot. But atheism does not invite the omniscient, he's all powerful, omniscient, all wisdom of God to let you know that a decision made today could actually affect adversely a decision made in the future. See, atheism tries to do it. It's all you're making the decision. It seems good to me today to eat cake for dinner. Well, that's great. What if it seems good tomorrow to eat cake for dinner? What if it seems good, and if you fix in your mind, it seems good, you can actually brainwash yourself into thinking that you can eat anything you want to, and it'd be perfectly fine. The Bible says food is sanctified by the word of God and prayer. It's really not what goes into man's body that defiles what comes out. But you could actually deceive yourself into thinking I can live, do whatever I want to. But atheism there's no extra knowledge beyond there. So there's no guarantee in atheism that you've made the proper decision for your life. It is your life. It's time you have on this planet right now. Atheism, there's no guarantee that you've made the right decision. Well, I want to be a banker. Well, what's your basis that you've made the right decision? Well, I feel good. Well, what if 3 weeks later you don't feel good about being a banker? Well, you just wasted 3 weeks of your life. And there's no foundation to build off that you will really be happy. Basically what we're talking about. There's nothing, atheism, if there's no purpose in the universe, then what do you really have to base off that you'll be happy playing sports? What do you have to base off that you will really be happy doing anything on this planet? Just because it seems good and wonderful. Imagine this. If you inundate yourself soccer 4 months in a row, morning, noon, night, playing soccer games on your console, watching soccer television, watching soccer during the day, watching soccer television, where everyone's just talking about soccer, you could really actually condition yourself to enjoy soccer. That's just how a human being designed by God works. Anything you inundate yourself with, you're going to start liking. But you can imagine a child spend the first 15 years of their life looking at soccer and being inundated with soccer, and the parents are throwing soccer at them. Then in the end, what happens when, so they think they like soccer, and they probably like tennis better deep down, but only God can show them. But imagine that. But the whole concept is that you can they can make themselves think they like soccer, and that's what they want to do in life because that's all they know is soccer. Maybe they grew up in a community, that's all they play is soccer. Right behind their house is the soccer stadium or the professional team. So they heard games of soccer going all, so they think that's what they want to do because it makes them feel good. They get the claps and the applause when they score things, but that's no guarantee that when they're 50 years old, and say their soccer career is over and now they're coaching, that they'll still be happy because there's no guarantee when you just go by the natural, atheistic, you're the one making the decisions because you don't know your life. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if that's what you're really designed to do. So it's basically hit and hope not to miss. Not hit and miss, it's hit and hope not to miss. So I hope, you want to live your life like this and you want to be happy because your flesh tells you, oh, I feel happy doing this whatsoever. That's foolishness. If you stop and think about it, someone who likes to rob, they're good at robbing. Well, robbing is bad. That is stealing. Thou shalt not steal. You're not supposed to rob. And so you got somebody who's like, well, I feel good about it. That's what I do, so that's what I'm going to do in life. Well, that doesn't work in society. So you can't go by just, oh, that's just I want to do and I feel good and I, follow. You don't follow that because, see, it doesn't work in society. It doesn't work with nature. Nature does not allow, even the natural universe does not leave open for, stuff just robbing. Even atoms aren't running around robbing stuff from each other. Oh, Lord have mercy. We probably wouldn't have any if the biggest atoms and the smartest atoms and the most intelligent and deft atoms could actually steal, protons and neutrons and electrons from each other, then we probably wouldn't have any water or any simple elements on there because, the biggest wins. That's self-purpose. You choose. That's what atheism provides. It provides the illusion that you're the one making the final decisions in your life. But intended purpose is God has planned and decided and designed you specifically to achieve an eternal purpose in this life, mind, space, zenith we live in. You are perfectly designed for this purpose, and you will also get maximum enjoyment from fulfilling it. Now, cell purpose is you decide what you're going to do, what not. Now, that may change 2 months from now. That may change 30 years from now. You go into another profession. Intended purpose, God's plan, designed, and destined you specifically to achieve an eternal purpose in this life, mind, space, zenith we live in. I'll read it again. We'll stop right there. God has a specific purpose for you. Now, this is what atheism does not provide. Atheism, you're just insignificant. You're just there. You know, there's nothing special about Earth. There's nothing special about you. You know, despite all your personal emotions and all your, things that affect you, that's who cares? Because you're just another human being. So really, we don't have to care what you think about. I mean, who cares what you think? You think about atheism in the end. That's how you have bad, mean dictators who just decide that we're gonna establish a society and make people do whatever we want to do. They have no free will, no choice, because no one really cares. You're not really important. If you want to play on the soccer team at school, I'm using soccer. If you want to play on the soccer team at school and somebody else wants to play, and you both want to you both want to be the forward, whatever the front person is that goes, who cares if the coach is going to just choose whoever he wants to, and if there's no atheist, if there's no God, and you're insignificant, well, who cares how you feel if you don't make the team? I mean, atheism does try to pervert education system and say everybody can play, everybody can be happy, but guess what? That stops at a certain point in time. That's how atheism pretends, you're special, you can do everything you want to, live your life any way you want to. Everyone has to deal with your life choices. But there's a saturation point in the end. You can't keep doing that. And that's the problem with atheism. Because yes, everyone can be on the soccer team. You can force it. No matter, everyone gets playing time. Yay. But after a point, like after high school, at least, in college, they're not going to let everybody play. And certainly inside what is it? Is it FIFA? FIFA? Is that whatever the National Soccer League, we're in the United States of America, whatever that is, they're not required to let your child play. Mom, dad, they're not required to do that. They have rules inside Major League Baseball, that, people try to water down for little children. No, I don't want to see, forgive me, Lord, I don't want to see little Johnny crying, so we're going to do this one. Well, once little Johnny becomes 18 and he gets into college or he moves on to professional Major League Baseball, there are certain rules that, all they try to pretend everyone's great, nobody loses, the points just get up, no one strikes out, yay, we don't want anyone to be sad. Well, there's a saturation point. Just like everyone gets to play, that's going to stop, because in the professional world, in the real universe, in the way the real world works, people prefer to have the best people on their team. So atheism pretends everything's going to be great. It works great in academia because you're underneath a system that's paying for academia. And so the teachers, who don't believe in God can say everything's great. Well, their job is secure and wonderful. What about a little kid who's trying to get a job and they want to be a teacher too, and there are only 400 positions of teachers at that university and all those things are filled up? Well, atheism says, good luck, lots of luck with that on that. But not in the kingdom of heaven, because if God has a purpose for you, then God has a responsibility to help you achieve that purpose, and he has a responsibility to open up the door for that. The Bible says a man's gift will make room for him. See, the Bible says room. If there's nothing there, you can create. That's what the Creator does. Humans can create. We're not here to live in homeostasis with the planet. We're not here to worship the planet, to let animals and monkeys do whatever they want to do, and we're responsible for monkeys, we're responsible for birds. We're not here to just play around and let the animals do what they want to do. If a baboon wants to walk into our house, we can't do anything. No, you get that monkey, that ape, that thing out of your house. It's not supposed to be there, because humans are the dominant creature that changes this planet. They create or they destroy. That's what creation is. There's a purpose behind this great opportunity and power you have been given. It's not just to do whatever you want to. So they pretend that, they pretend atheism. They just pretend that you have all this free will and whatnot, but without purpose, you can't end up destroying yourself. But see, for instance, God creates, and with creation comes God has a way to change something to help you. Atheism doesn't. You know, you leave with socialism, you know, socialism, communism, whatever, everyone works together, but after that money runs out, we don't have enough for scholarships. After the money runs out, the government will fail. Socialistic government. You know, the governments will fail if they try to take care of everything because it works to a degree. It works to a point. But after kids leave school, you're not responsible. Listen. Continue on. Intended purpose, you are perfectly designed for this purpose, and you will also get maximum enjoyment in fulfilling on it. First, perfectly designed. Someone who is designed to sing in the long run will only get maximum enjoyment out of singing. Period. You can't convince yourself. People have convinced themselves, I enjoy it. You know, they say, I enjoy doing this, this is wonderful, and you can convince yourself, and in the end, they're not satisfied. They have money, they have wealth, they have fame, they're not satisfied, they don't have peace. Why? Because in atheism, money, wealth, fame, all the natural stuff, you know, they got all the natural stuff, all the friends, all the family, then they're miserable in the end of their life. Why? Because they did not go in their intended purpose that God has for them, that they're perfectly designed to do. Some people are designed to play piano. They were born to play piano. And without God, without knowing that you have an intended purpose, if they grow up inside of a community that plays baseball, and everybody plays baseball, and their family plays baseball, and every time they look around, there's nothing but baseball there. Baseball's a wonderful sport. Thank the Lord for blessing them. But everyone plays baseball, and if they just go with their self-purpose and all they have is that, then there's no supernatural inkling that you should be doing something else. That's why we have to ask God what we're supposed to be doing on this planet. So in atheism, they'll just go by whatever they see because that's all atheism does. They look at the natural universe. Oh, there's a rock there. Let's come up with a reason why it's here. But wait. Atheism has no purpose for it. So we can't come up with a reason. We just want to, it just got here because there's no purpose. God didn't plan it here. So you can't even come up with a reason why the universe is running. There's no reason for life. There's no purpose for life. It's just get what you can when you can, as much as you can on the can, and you know, stuff like that. But with God, you have a perfectly designed purpose, and you will also get maximum enjoyment from fulfilling this purpose. You will get it, and only God knows what you're designed. A singer will be a singer for the rest of eternity. No matter, even if they go play soccer, they'll still like singing music and whatnot. But without God telling them what their purpose is, they can spend their whole life just, you know, like someone ice skating. The kid gets on the ice, wow. Gets in the pool, wow. It's like, oh, wow, this person's talented. I mean, like, it comes easy to them. Their intended purpose comes easy. The intended purpose. Yeah, let's continue. Now, both require self-purpose, where you're the one choosing what atheism provides. You can choose whatever you want to. Requires faith. Both, and of course, intended purpose from God, they both require faith. Okay? No logic in kidding yourself. You have to actually believe that atheism is true if you want to live your life that way by it. You can't go back and forth. If there is no God, you're just, you know, you're going to have to come up with arguments. I mean, think of it. They both require faith. You know, you have to believe that when you're teaching your children, there is no God. When you literally sit there and tell your child or tell a class there is no God, you better be right. Because you have to understand when they come back and they start having problems in life, if they run across an issue in life and they come to you for advice and stuff, you're going to have to be able to help them. You can't say there is no God and then be mad and mean at people because they're suffering in the planet. So, but both require faith. Now I'm making it, both require faith. I was going to say something about God, but I'll say something about atheism first. Both do require faith, but atheism is faith in yourself as far as you can go. As far as medical science can take you, congratulations, you will live. The saturation point is the absolute natural. Now they've tried playing around in the atheism has tried playing around in the mental universe. And they'll keep failing because they don't know anything really about the mental universe because they're ignoring the spiritual universe, which is above the mental universe that created the mental universe. But when you have the atheism is as far as your physical can take you, your physical body can take you, is out, it'll work. You can have faith in yourself. I can do this job, I can do wonderful, and I can do great. And you know, you got the mental universe, I can think good thoughts or whatever. You're having a good time in atheism. But guess what? The other job that I'm leaning closer. The job is based off somebody else making decision if you're going to have that job. So you can do everything in the natural to get the best grades. I mean, just imagine the best grades, valedictorian, cum laude, summa cum laude. You can get all the degrees, but in the end, it still falls on someone else to make that decision. So the saturation point for atheism goes all the way up until somebody else who has authority will let you on their team or whatnot. But when you have faith in God, it doesn't matter if the person likes you or not. God will give you favor. You can get on the team if the person doesn't even like you. God can move that ugly, mean coach out of the entire organization. They won't even be there. So both do require faith. Hey, it requires faith in God. When your child has an issue, you can believe God for their healing, for God to grant them wisdom, but it still requires faith that, when you teach your child there is a God and he loves them, then when that child puts their entire energies toward the belief that God is going to help them, you have to have faith that you're doing the right thing. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So both atheism and Christianity require faith. You both have to have them, because if you don't have it, you're not going to teach it. So both require faith, but God has the better track record and infinitely more experience. God is omniscient, all-powerful, omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent individual that has the better track record than atheism. Okay? Because God has a solution for every problem. Atheism does not. They're hoping to get to solutions. They're coming up with things that work and things that don't work. And 20 years from now, something might not be, established law. But God has the better track record because obviously by sheer experience, even if, God has been around, he's outside of time. He's in the spiritual universe. He's a spirit. So in the spiritual universe, there is no time. So he has a better track record just by default if he's been around since the first human. So he has enough seen. So even if he wasn't working on omniscient inner knowledge, he's seen enough humans do stuff and do stupid stuff and die and not live and not so he at least give you advice on that. But he's got a better track record because he knows everything. Atheism does not know everything. Humanism does not know everything. We had a big bang. I was taught that when I was in high school. When I got to college, we got the primordial fireball. Okay, now something else has to create this stuff because, we don't know. And atheism was working out a lot of partial knowledge. They're looking at, what they see. But now we got dark matter and all this other stuff, so now we have to come up with formulas. See, but when you deal with the God of the universe, he already knows what's there. He knows who's coming down that road 2 hours from now when you're on the road. Atheism is just by the natural, the roads are clear, everything's wonderful. God will tell you if there's going to be not to drive for 1 hour, if there's going to be a drunk that's going to cross that intersection. See, atheism doesn't know that because atheism ignores, the possibility that someone might be out there who knows everything and who can actually help you. Atheism based, it's going to be a great day, great driving day, the sun's out, beautiful, wonderful. Like that movie I remember watching where it's like, it's going to be a great day, go for traffic. And then, of course, the movie happened and nobody had a good day. The power was stopped. If you figure it out, you probably figure out the power was stopped. All the stuff, the whole government was shut down. So they thought that morning everything was going to be great. But they didn't know. So God has a better track record. So when he gives you advice and wisdom, he's got a better track record of keeping people alive than atheism. God has a better track record of keeping people alive who had cancer than atheism. Because when atheistic, humanistic medicine gives up on you, it gives up. But the Bible never says God gives up on somebody that wants and needs his help. See, atheism has a saturation point. Faith in mankind will only take you so far as their dollars help. But if the bank has $2,000 and two people come for a $2,000 loan, bank has to make a decision. But if two people who need $2,000 come to the King of Heaven, God can get them both $2,000. His track record's much better. Everybody who came to God in the Bible for anything got it. Now let's give you 3 examples of self-purpose and versus intended purpose. Self-purpose, the Tower of Babel. Let us build a name for ourselves. Humanity got together. They knew God. Now listen, the people of Tower of Babel knew God existed. They were not atheistic. They were not humanistic. They knew God existed. They said, let us build a name for ourselves lest we be scattered upon the earth. They knew what they were doing, and they were purposely ignoring the King of Heaven. The people in the Bible were, in Babel, this is not atheism. This is people who knew God existed. But they've decided self-purpose, which is what atheism creates. You can make your own world. You can do anything you want to. You can have parties on your lawn in the middle of the night. Nothing's going to happen until the sheriff shows up. Tower of Babel, let's build us a name for ourselves. We saw what happened there. God had to knock that down. Because they actually went against, which is an intended purpose, the Garden of Eden, fill the earth and replenish it. God wanted them to overspread the earth and replenish it. God wanted humanity to expand across the earth, not stay inside one particular thing. See, God's purpose was to fill the earth and replenish it. Their purpose was let's build ourselves a name. Now listen, one of them worked and one didn't. God came down and confused their language. So obviously you saw that self-purpose didn't work because there's a saturation point. Guys, you can do anything you want to and say you live your life and lifestyle or whatever, personal life choices, junk like that, but there is a saturation point you will hit. You either hit the police officers, you hit the school board, you hit somebody else, you hit the voters, you hit the president or whatever, you hit the Congress, you'll hit somebody, or you'll eventually hit God, or you'll run across a supernatural entity that will stop you in your tracks, and it always stopping down. And atheists be like, well, we don't know what happened. So. But self-purpose, let's build a name for ourselves. They're only thinking about themselves. And God's humanity's designed to take care of the entire planet. But humanity didn't want to do that. Humanity wanted to stay put. And when humanity didn't want to do that and stay put, what do we have left? We would have had just one huge city. And the whole planet would have just been desolate. Because everybody would have been, living, doing their own thing. And, but the earth would just have one city and everybody would just, see, that's what they were after. Let's build us a city and a name, a tower. We want to do stuff on ourselves. And God was like, fill the earth and replenish it. Two different purposes. They would have had more fun filling there. Now they had to fill the earth. They had to fill it because God stopped them. But I want to let you, so there was a saturation point. But if they did their intended purpose, they would have had lands and flocks and houses. And they would have had a wonderful time because that was their intended purpose. But they would have had faith that doing what God told them to do would have worked. Self-purpose versus intended purpose. Here's the self-purpose. Satan, I want God's position. That's it. It's interesting. Let us build us a name. I. Atheism is perfectly selfish. Don't pretend humanism is all about humans. It's all about you. That's the whole purpose of it. I want to believe what I want to believe. I want to do what I want to do. I want to live how I want to live. And you have to accept it. No, we don't have to accept how you live, move, or whatever. We don't have to do that because society doesn't do it. You see, one lion wants you see a lion or a panda that has some bamboo or whatever. They want that stick. I want to have this stick. Imagine an atheist. Then another panda who's bigger. I want that stick too. I got the stick, and you don't have it anymore because I want it. Because if everyone's going off their own personal, I want this, I want that. Doesn't work. So atheists, so you see how selfish atheism is. They don't really care about you. They don't care about your family. They're concerned about themselves. I want to live forever and I want to do all this stuff and I want, clean air. So I'm going to override your will and make you recycle. I don't care to try to help you understand recycling. I want you to just do it. And that's how education gets themselves in a lot of trouble because they override the parents, they override the students. They don't care because they have a will. They pretend everybody should think the way they want to, but they attack the King of Heaven, or at least they try, because that's just how they work. They pretend there's free thought, but then they don't want Jesus inside the school. They don't want Christmas called Christmas, the Mass of Christ. Christ must. They don't want that. But they pretend they want free thought. So see, it's all selfish. It's all what I want, and I don't want to hear about your Jesus or whatnot. That's foolishness because they're pretending they're pretending atheism pretends that it's all everyone can do what they want to do. But in the end, it is self-purpose. Satan said, I want God's position. I'll exalt my throne up unto the north. I'll be like God. That's self-purpose. Now this is interesting because the intended purpose was Lucifer. He's not called Lucifer anymore, so you can quit playing around saying Lucifer is the name of the devil because he's no longer referred to as Lucifer. Lucifer, means son of the morning, and he ain't son of the morning anymore. But Lucifer, his intended purpose, he was the anointed cherub that covered. He was like the top angel. God had already given this entity, this angel, a top position in heaven. He was the anointed cherub that covered. Anointed. That includes the Holy Spirit of God was actually on this angel. God gave Lucifer a purpose. He had pipes in him that made music. God gave a beautiful purpose, and he was the anointed cherub that covered, which means instead of being selfish trying to anoint his throne, he was actually designed to cover something. And when you cover something, hey, listen, the anointed cherub that covereth, whatever he was covering, what's a covering? A covering is a protection. He was actually being utilized by the King of Heaven to cover something and protect something. So that means his part, he was part of the kingdom of heaven. He was doing something. He was affecting all the angels and all of heaven. He even affected humanity when he fell and became the devil. But I mean, think about that. His purpose was to affect everything. He was the anointed cherub. He was literally, people refer to him as the top angel. He had a purpose. He had a real literal purpose, and God had a beautiful purpose for him, which is why he was called Lucifer. But self-purpose, I want God's position. I want to be God. Atheism, there is no God. We are God. Humans are God. We determine where we came from, who we are, and what we want to do. And so we saw what happened. So that's what Satan, that's self-purpose. Atheism creates it. So Satan gets to decide what he wants to do. He wants to be God. He wants to be God. So really, God has to let Satan be God. Really, according to atheism, if you want to play that game, then God would have to, change his mind. Okay, whatever. If you don't want to be anointed cherub, here, share my throne. God's not going to share his throne. But like that, not with an entity he doesn't want to share his throne with, or wasn't designed to share his throne with. So you got self-purpose, Satan, I want God's position, intended purpose, Lucifer, the anointed cherub that covereth, and we saw what happened. Satan got kicked out of heaven, thrown out. He's headed for hell. He's headed for the lake of fire. Judgment. It doesn't work. There's judgment that follows self-purpose. If you go your own way, there's always a saturation point. Even nowadays, if there's a law, you break the law of gravity, you break a specific law, even though you got your mind set for it, and I want to fly and do whatnot, if you break it and jump off that cliff, you'll die. You'll hit judgment or whatever, or you'll get hurt. Same thing with playing around. Some people playing around with chemicals, some 8-year-old playing around with a firecracker or something. Oh, he's just playing around, having fun. Well, the laws of the universe say if he, lights that firecracker or does something that causes that firecracker to explode, that kid will reap the results of and the consequences of enacting that physical law, that chemical law that will make that firecracker explode. And if he gets hurt, that's just it, because there is laws and consequences in this universe, even though atheism would like you to ignore laws and consequences, mental laws, physical laws, spiritual laws, that atheism is not able to really help you with. If you come up against one, a spiritual law is not going to work. You're not going to win. So Satan had his choice. He could make a choice. But he came up against the King of Heaven. He came up against a spiritual law. There is no other God above the God of heaven, the King of Heaven. There is no other God. Self-purpose. Let's continue. The last example. Self-purpose is the kingdom of darkness. Steal, kill, and destroy to get to the top no matter who stands in your way. That's really what it is. You're out for yourself. Hey, go for it. Money, drugs, whatever, have fun, and, ladies, and, all that stuff, and the high life and stuff without God, and partying, and, destroying your liver with alcohol, stuff like that. Yay, just have fun and party and revel and, stuff like that. But it's all about you. And it's like, get to the top. Who cares? You got to look out for yourself. So if you have to lie and cheat and steal, in the end, just come up to the top. I may have made some people mad. I may have defrauded my neighbor. But that's how the kingdom of darkness works. It's self-purpose. Satan is not out for your good. The kingdom of darkness is not there for your good. The Babylonian system, communism, is not out for your good. They're trying to build a society. If you imagine, look, we want to build a society and we really don't care about you. If you want religion, you can't have it because we're trying to build a society, so we don't care about you. See, it's all running off whoever's doing it, and the devil's in charge of the kingdom of darkness. So you have the kingdom of darkness, steal, kill, and destroy to get to the top no matter what stands in your way. Who cares? I mean, you're only here one time, so let's just go for it. Let's have as much fun as possible. Live free, you know, and die young and trash like that. That's self-purpose. It's all selfish. The intended purpose. Kingdom of heaven, righteousness, peace, and joy in the Holy Ghost for whosoever will come and desires to partake. Kingdom of heaven, God wants to help and bless every single person. The kingdom of darkness is out to steal, kill, and destroy, rule, reign, like, in a bad sense, dominate, control. They like power. The kingdom of darkness likes power. Atheism likes power because it gets to tell you what to do. The kingdom of heaven has all power. It makes proper decisions. It has to eventually tell you what to do, especially when you step out of this life into eternity. The kingdom of heaven will literally you know, run. It's actually ruling over all anyway. Once you step out of this life, you're no longer doing all those choices. You're not going to be able to decide, oh, I want to live my life like this. When you step into eternity, that stops and you move into the spirit realm. You notice the stark difference between the kingdom of heaven and atheism. The kingdom of heaven is like, well, we'll stick with the kingdom of darkness. Atheism came out of the kingdom of darkness, actually, is what it did, because it pretends that there is no God. It pretends there's no devil, so you can blame other people for your problems, and you know, and there's no help or whatever it is. Yeah, really, that's what it is. I mean, atheism came out of the kingdom of darkness. It's perpetrated from the devil. I want to be God. Devil wants to be God. Humanists want to be God. Period. We want to make the final decision: who we are, where we came from, where we're going. That's basically it. And we want to ignore all the signs and wonders, and we want to ignore basically the largest religion on this planet. There aren't 2+ billion people in Christianity for no reason whatsoever. So you got the kingdom of darkness, steal, kill, and destroy, go for yourself. Yeah, I don't want to say some of these phrases that you know, these popular phrases, but it's really, you know, just, you know, live life young forever, and we're just, you know, yay, whatever, and just have fun, and then, you know, hopefully you die rich. But then you got the kingdom of heaven, righteousness, peace, and joy in the Holy Ghost for whosoever will come and desire to partake. Kingdom of darkness, steal, kill, and destroy. Kingdom of heaven, righteousness, peace, and joy. People are looking for peace. They're looking for righteousness. They're looking for life and joy. See, atheism doesn't provide that. They try to get life and joy through what you're doing. They try to get life and joy outside the physical. Do what makes you happy. Well, what makes you happy may not make you happy 10 years from now. But with the kingdom of heaven, God will give you righteousness, peace, and joy, and then you can enjoy the journey to the manifestation of whatever you have, or, you know, enjoy it right then immediately. But that's different, because in atheism, joy comes out of the physical realm. In the kingdom of heaven, the joy comes out of the spiritual realm, which is what you are. You're a spirit, you know. And that'll explain a lot of stuff in, you know, psychology, if you just realize people are spirits instead of just trying to relegate it all down to brain stuff. But anyways, so that's the difference. Self-purpose is the kingdom of darkness. Intended purpose is the kingdom of heaven. So the kingdom of darkness is not out for your best. It's not out for your good. It's just live as much as you can and do what makes you happy, and get away from the people who don't love you and people who don't agree with you. That trash. Cut off ties. Who cares? Burn all your bridges, man. You know, just enjoy time with your friends. Forget your parents. Forget your family. But then the kingdom of heaven is totally different than that. The kingdom of heaven wants everyone to enjoy life together. You don't have to run out on your parents to hang out with your friends. Get better friends. Continuing. In atheism, you are merely a statistic. Here today, gone tomorrow, lots of luck in life. That's it. Despite all the humanism, all the stuff, how great it sounds, it's trash. You're useless, you're worthless, you're pointless. In the universe, even considering the size of the planet. I mean, one human, we have 7.14 or billion people plus on this planet at the filming of this video, or is it 7.5? I think it's 1. But anyways, you're just one speck in a huge anthill, and you know, that's just it. And maybe you can affect some people, maybe you can't. If you don't, who cares? I mean, who cares? You're useless. You're worthless. I mean, you're nothing. You're just. I mean, if you stop and analyze it, that's what atheism is telling your child. They're telling you, you're nothing. Hey, if you're gone, hey, who cares? The universe will keep ticking, man. It sounds wonderful, pretends that it's carefree, but it's not. It creates despair, doom, agony. It makes people sad and miserable. Someone gets killed. Oh well, that's just how it works because the animal kingdom. If someone he just had a gun, so whatever. I mean, if you try, that's why you can't analyze humanity by the animal kingdom, because humans aren't animals. In animals, the biggest one wins. Humans have moral choices that we don't run off instinct. Monkey's not going to decide, hey, let's get out of the forest right now because there are some humans who want to build a resort. And so let's go, forget all those foolish movies and stuff. We're going to attack humanity. No. That's trash. We're going to change our minds. Let's move. Let's create. It's insulting to the kingdom of heaven. It's insulting to you. So atheism, you're just a statistic. If you die, oh well, that was it. Your life is gone. Little child's life, 8 years old, gone. Who cares? If you think about it, that's how atheism, because atheism has to pretend you're not important, you're not anything. That's why atheism is trash. It doesn't give any hope. Win a few, lose a few. Just try to enjoy life. In Christianity, you are an infinite, uniquely created individual. In Christianity, you are an infinite, uniquely created individual that has no possibility of being replaceable nor insignificant. You are irreplaceable. This is not a joke. Your time here, there's not going to ever be a spirit being like you on this planet. Even by default, two people, if we had 8 sets of identical twins, if we could make like we'll say, is it octuplets? If we said octuplets, if we could make a group of octuplets who had the exact same DNA, but of course their spirits be different. Atheism ignores that. The exact same DNA, but we put them in one in 5,000 years BC, one in 4,000 years BC, one in 3,000 years BC, one in 2,000 years BC, one in 1,000 years BC, one in 0 BC, and one in say 2006, 2010. Their lives would be totally different, even if they had the exact same quote-unquote DNA. Because, your life is not going to be, different. Your life is not going to be the same if you were born in a different time. You would do different things with your life, different times. Your life, how you act today, no one will ever be able to be you. Have your name, live at your physical address, do what you do. See, in Christianity, you're not replaceable. If a child has a desire to write a musical or something like that, and they don't do it, the world will never hear the musical. If you don't do what you're supposed to do, we'll never see it. Atheism tries to relegate that out because they ignore God, and they don't want to deal with the serious issues in life. They want to help everybody, but really they don't. But they pretend they want to help everybody. But what about everybody who needs to write a symphony or whatever? So atheism can't help everybody. There's a saturation point. Only so much bread we can make. But in the kingdom of heaven, you got the source, you utilize the power of the King of heaven, and you can achieve anything God has placed in your heart to do. So you are not insignificant. You are not useless. In atheism, basically, you are useless because there's no purpose to your life. The cosmos just came, blob inside the ocean. What was that? Well, God knoweth what it's called now, but I think it was a primordial soup or something like that. But in the end, there's just no purpose to it. No purpose to your life. If you have fun, just try your best to have fun as much as you can. That sounds really, really wonderful, but it doesn't create peace. It doesn't help someone sleep really, really well at life unless they delude themselves. When they run against the possibility, especially, that you're created, you are an infinite, uniquely created individual that has no possibility of being replaceable. Your children are not replaceable. You are not replaceable. If you don't achieve what God has for you to achieve, we're going to miss it. And that's just it. Atheism has no answer for that, which is why it's so quintessentially important that you make your decision. Atheism versus, will I be able to bring this up close enough for you to see? Will it be clear? Atheism versus purpose. You will have to make your decision, my friends, if you want. You'll have to make your decision because life is continuing. Life, you're not in a sense, you're not going to get this, what is this 40, 45, 46 minutes or whatever in this week. You're not going to get that time back. So you're going to have to ask the Lord, ask God to give you wisdom. And you're going to have to decide, ask the Lord to give you wisdom. You're going to have to think about this. You're going to have to decide which one you're going to follow. Because when you teach your children that and they live their life, whichever one, atheism or purpose, you're going to have to make a decision. Either there is no purpose in life and who cares what you do, or there is a purpose and it's your job to find out. So, for I know the thoughts, this is the Bible, Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end. Thanks for joining me. Be blessed in the name of the living Lord King Jesus Christ. And remember, live, move, be.